All right, now I've taken the template that we drew out and I've separated everything. I've cut this all, so now I have an outline. You can do one of two things. You can lay your template over your color like this and mark it softly with a very hard pencil. I used a 2H pencil just to get that nice sharp line. I can cut that out. I can cut these out. I saw a student last semester and we talked and we worked out a method of doing something else where she had taken and cut out 12 of these shapes and then cut them out individually and put them in a little fold of paper with a paper clip and labeled them all which colors she wanted them to be, and she just had these. They are definitely going to go back together because you cut them all out of one piece. It is a much more precise method. So you can paint your color swatches and paint your highlights and your shadows and determine which is the appropriate one and which is not, and then paint your pieces individually. You can just paint this shadow piece and you know it's going to go right where it belongs because that's what it was made from. So that's another way of doing this, and I think that's a pretty darn good way. I've started by beginning to mix a little bit of violet over here. And I've discovered that in these colors, boy, this crimson is much more of a powerful tinting color. Taking some of this and putting that into here, I'm going to get more of a violet than a blue violet by adding a little more red. But boy, that red is powerful, really powerful. Okay, so let's see what we get here for violet. And since I'm doing this, I might as well see if this is the violet that I want. That's pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. And it is because I know how strong that red is and I know how strong the paint the blue is. I'm going to be able to determine whether or not just how much material I'm going to need to stir into that yellow to get a decent shadow for the yellow paint. So let's do this. Let's take just a little whisper of this and add it into our yellow paint and see what we get. You saw I just barely used any paint at all. All right, so now I'm going to take and put this up here with this yellow. Oh, that's not quite enough. See, it's turning it a little green. So we know that it's on the cool side. So let's take some of this again and just add a little of that in there. You can use the end of your brush. But when I get down to it, you know, I really like just using my brush for mixing colors. It's a bad habit, and I've done it for years. But so there we got a pretty dark shadow out of that one. So I think that's a little on the dark side. So now we have a problem. Now we have a problem. And this is, I did this so that I can show you, you don't want to do this. You don't want to take that darkness right here and try to add enough yellow to make it lighter. Like I said, yellow is not an extremely strong tinting color. So we can add our water into there just to get the consistency. Now we've got this strong yellow. I think that shadow is a little on the cool side, so I'm going to add a little more red into the violet and kick that in here. That may be too much. Let's see. Oh, that's better. That's much better. Yeah, I think I added a little too much water, but as far as our color goes, it's starting to be a much better shadow. So you need to make those kinds of adjustments, but remember, yellow, it's a really pale color, and it shifts very dramatically, very fast.